Hey y'all, trying to bang out another video today, but I've had this one in store for a little bit. If you've read Edgar Allan Poe, you might have noticed a little trend. Every single lady, except for one, save one, every woman that Poe's ever written about has an L in her name. Also, this is my garden after it got fucked up in the hurricane. Isn't it nice? Okay. So, we have Ligeia, Eleonora, Annabel, what else? Let's see, Ligeia, Annabel, Lenore, Eleonora. Oh god, there's more. I know there's so many more. But there's the one outlier, which I find really funny. Berenice! Berenice! Of all things. Because I've read somewhere that Poe really found the L names elegant, and I can understand why. But, Berenice. Berenice! Now, Poe himself said that he believed that there was nothing more poetic and beautiful in this world than the death of a beautiful woman. And I get this because many people theorize that he was like right there when his mom died, and he was like orphaned essentially and thrown into a foster home, and that's how he got Poe in his name. He was born Edgar Allan, or no, Edgar, that's how he got Allan in his name. He was born Edgar Poe. So his adopted parents were Allan. Less about Poe, more about his works. A lot of the times he'll have something around the lines of, there's a really beautiful lady, oh god, she's coughing up blood, oh god, she's dead, I'm so sad. And I hate when people call him like a horror author, because like partially, yeah, most of the time it's just sad. It's sad. It's blocking off the cemetery. So let me tell you a little rundown of some of these L-name beauties, except for Berenice. Berenice is the story, it's a horror story about teeth falling out. It's actually pretty good. I told this to a dentist one time and she was really interested in it. She's like, ooh, tell me, with her hands in my mouth. But I think in the story Berenice is like his cousin, the narrator's cousin, which what I said. I believe most of the time the narrator is just Poe's stand-in. I believe most of his stories are self-inserts, which when you're a fan of him plus his poetry, it makes it even better, because like in The Angel of the Odd, he describes himself with gray eyes and curly black hair and a sufficiently good nose, and like 5'8" or 6" or something. And I like having these descriptions of Poe because it's like a little window of what that was back then. I don't know. So, another famous Poe lady, well, there's Lenore, the poem, which I don't think, alright, Edgar Allan Poe was stationed on Sullivan's Island in the 1820s or 30s, I want to say, and he went into the military because his fuck-ass foster father sent him to college with only half the money until he had to like burn furniture to stay alive. So he like dropped out and went, I'm crushing sticks. So he left and joined the military under a false name. And then he was shipped to Sullivan's Island, which is local. They actually have the Poe's Tavern up there. And they have the Goldbug Island, like the story, and there's streets named after his stories, like Goldbug Street and whatever the fuck. But, oh, where was I going with this? His father, and, well, regardless, I just tripped. Gee, Manetti. So, creeping around here. I don't want anyone to hear me. One of my favorite L names in Poe's poetry I don't think it's as beloved a story as, say, like Annabel Lee, but actually it's not a story, or those are poems. This is a story. Eleonora. And excuse that pimple. But I really like this because it's kind of different from a lot of other Poe stories, and different in the way that there's not much macabre imagery. Like usually it's I rode on my horse through the woods to a castle that was covered in moss. I think that's the fall of the House of Usher. And Nebraska Red Death, everyone's wearing the things, and it's all But Eleonora, it just starts out, they live in a valley of many colored grasses, and they live this humdrum life, and it's so nice. And then his beloved cousin wife, which, like I said, Poe writes fan fictions about himself because he married his cousin. And don't get weirded out initially, because yeah, it might be weird. Let's just remove that for a second. The reason why Poe married his cousin Virginia is because she was going to be put up for adoption like he was, and he said, oh fuck no, she's not going to go through that life like I did. And so he married her, but essentially like adopted her. There's actually a great story of them, Poe and Virginia, I want to call her Elizabeth for no reason. Virginia and Poe were in the garden, and they were playing leapfrog, and Poe jumps over Virginia. Keep calling him Poe, not like Edward, like his real name. But he split his pants, and then she just started laughing, and his face turned bright red, and like, that's so humanizing. I want to learn more stories. Another one is these kids, right after The Raven was written, these kids had knew of Edgar, and would come up to him on the street and be like, nevermore, and he'd go boo, and just cute shit like that. But what was I saying? Eleonora, that's right. So his allegorical cousin girlfriend in the story dies, which is the titular Eleonora, and he's like lost everything for all the meaning in his life, and he's like, I can't move on. And I think actually at the end of the story he does, but he's like, I'll always miss her, I'll never forget her. And I really think that was just Poe talking about his wife cousin. And what's another L name in Poe? Hi, kitty. Hi. Poe actually himself said that I wish I can be as mysterious as a cat. This video's gone way too fucking long. I'll peace out now. See you later.